Hey, John from Mighty here, and in this video, I'm going to walk through how you can use the Articulate localization tool while also leveraging Mighty and a couple of workarounds that you can certainly do in order to make that work. So let's show you how that's done. All right, so if you're not familiar with the Articulate localization tool, certainly go check out their videos that talks about what that is. I'm not going to really get into the details on how to set up a course with localization. What I'm going to do is I'm going to really dive deep into Mighty functionality and how Mighty functionality plays or doesn't necessarily play with some of the localization workflows that exist, and then how you can work around those. So go check out those videos from Articulate on localization. And if you use localization, this is really more for you. So, all right, we've got a course here, and all I've done really at this point is I took one of their templates, translated it via AI, and made some modifications. And now I have since gone into my course and I've added a couple of Rise block or Mighty blocks as well as Mighty mods. So like here's a transition block that's awkwardly sitting over this image background. And then there's another reflection block with a bunch of random text in it. And then we've got some mods here on this block, and then blah, 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 another mod down here with the notes block. So like a handful of things that are using Mighty. Probably a situation that maybe you guys are in where you've been using Mighty, now you're trying out their localization tool, and maybe you're starting to run into some of these issues. So here's kind of a heads up on what they are and then workarounds that you can certainly do to utilize and leverage both tools at the same time. So we've got this tool. The biggest thing that you're going to notice is when you're in Review 360 and you publish this for your translators, maybe your SMEs who are speaking these other languages, to go through your content and evaluate how well it translated. You're going to notice that inside of here, it's not rendering any Mighty functionality. So you're going to see placeholders and you're going to not see any of your mods. And if you've got power-ups that you've done, like none of that is functional here in this review workflow. And that is because we want to make sure that Articulate is getting the localization workflow set up and ready, because that's really the most important part, is that over here in this translations tab, you've got the ability to update all of yours, in this situation, my Spanish text, based on AI translating it. So this is like the bread and butter of where this localization tool is cool, because we want to be able to make sure the review process is smooth. So we kind of stay out of the way here. So this is where, number one, you should warn anyone who's going to review these courses to just kind of ignore the design side of things. And maybe there's a couple of blocks that they just need to ignore, and we'll handle those after the fact. But this is like, get 90% of your content translated and functional, and you can evaluate all of that over here and just do your normal localization process. So you're just going to have to give people a heads up. Hey, you might see these placeholders. Just completely ignore that those are there. We'll handle those kind of in like a post process. As far as the rest of the review side of things, everything else should be fine. I mean, more or less, Mighty isn't here at all. So you can do your normal comments and everything like that. But again, caveat, just don't deal with any of the Mighty functionality during this review step. Now, if you are wanting to review your course, here's what I would do in regards to reviewing your course, as well as just kind of like finalizing your course for like a publish experience. And this is where you go back into Rise, and we're in this stacked layout. And actually what you can do at this point is you can take your course and save this out as a non-localized course with Articulate. So we can just go ahead and save this. This is going to go ahead and build up that course. So now at this point, you can see I'm just on my dashboard, and we've got my original course that I had used to translate. And now here's a copy of just the Spanish side only. So then this is where I would go into that Spanish course and then go through all of the Mighty blocks and make those manual adjustments to, the multiple choice text, reflection text. If you've used the interactive HTML block, you would swap out that HTML content that's not been translated with the new content that's been translated. So just all of that, like little manual steps that you have to do. But again, 90% of your content, or probably more, has all been auto translated using Articulate's localization tool. It's just the other couple of things with the blocks and the mods and the power ups, like those are now fully functional at this experience. So once you get that done, you can just send this out to review. There's really not much that should come back in regards to text or translations because you already handled that over in the other localized course. This is now just more like a, hey, final visualization. Let's make sure that everything's working appropriately. And this is your standard review workflow that you would do if this was a non-localized course that has been enhanced with Mighty. So you publish it to review. This goes through all those steps to get it out to review. And then once we're in here, you're going to see all of your Mighty functionality working again. All right, so that's ready. We can jump into this review. Again, this is our Spanish course that we've copied out of localization. And as we jump into here, we can see now that our transition block's working. This is our reflection block. We haven't manually updated the translation for this yet. So that still shows what it was in English. And then we've got our mods. So there's one of the mods. Where's the other mod at? Right here for these two things. So as you can see, all the Mighty functionality is working as expected. And then from this point, you'd be able to just go back and publish your course for LMS or wherever you're going to publish this out next. If you are looking to leverage the stacked layout, that is where you're going to just need to make some decisions in regards to how to translate the text with our Mighty blocks, because the stacked layout, again, is a copy of a single course, and the Mighty blocks themselves don't have separate translations for English or Spanish. So just be aware of that as you're working with those blocks. That if you do a stacked layout, which I'll show what that is. So that's this version here where you publish from the stack view. And then when you open up the course in your LMS or wherever, it's going to first ask you what language you want to view the content in. And you can say Spanish or English, and you can see behind the scenes automatically changes all that text. So again, just another localization feature that you could certainly dive into if you're not familiar with that. But this all does work, has Mighty functionality. But again, you have one text, one set of text for Mighty blocks in English and Spanish in this situation. Like there's not really a way to separate those. So you just have to be aware of that your content just needs to kind of be flexible for both languages, which isn't really a thing. So you'll just have to figure out how you want to handle the stack layout. But again, what I would suggest is you really just go back into your copied course right here that you separated out from your localized course and finish out all your translations and then just separate out your zips, just like you've always done prior to the stacked view existing. Um, we do hope to be able to dig in more to this feature or figure out another side solution if we need to, but that is how you can work around the RISE localization. Everything else from here should work when we're in that localized course, being able to preview it or being able to edit or author things. All of that should load. But if you do run into any issues, just let us know and we'll see where we can be support. And you can jump into our Maestro community. Feel free to hit me up there or via our support channels, and we'll see what we can do. Thanks, everyone.